Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Force here, and today we'll be checking out the latest installment in the Magic the Gathering Duels of the Planeswalkers series. This is the 2014 edition, and here in this video I'll just be showing you some of the various features and additions that have come in the latest set of duels. So I'm really excited about this, it goes without saying. Huge Magic fan, and I've been doing that Friday Night Magic series for quite some time now, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing and showing off the improvements here in Duels 2014. So let's just start off by taking a look at the various features available. In the single player, you've got the standard campaign in which you use one of the pre-constructed decks and you face off against opponents. There are 5 different chapters. You move from Innistrad to Zendikar, Chandalar, what are all these? Alara, Ravnica, and then they're back to Innistrad there. So there are these 5 different chapters, and in each chapter you face off, a little bit of flavor text there, and in each chapter you face off against a set of opponents, and every time you defeat an opponent you get to unlock their decks potentially, or additional cards for the deck that you're playing, and then also character portraits. You can see I've just played through a little bit of it just to get an idea of how the gameplay has changed. Now, beyond the campaign, there is also the challenge system still within this game, in which you're put in this seemingly impossible situation or difficult situation, and you must try to win in one turn, typically is how it goes. It looks like there are two different sections here, each of them with 5 challenges for a total of 10 challenges, and then there are the initial challenges and then the more advanced ones. You can also set up a custom game, and then there's sealed play, but we'll get to that in just one moment. In the multiplayer, you've got a few options. So there's create a match, join a custom match, or a quick match, which will just randomly sort of assign you with any one of these. Doesn't let you filter or search through like you get to in custom match. And in terms of the match types, we've got free for all, 2-headed giant, and then the addition of the latest game mode, which is the sealed play mode. And then the last thing in the major options that I want to show you is actually the deck manager, because they've done a pretty good job of changing it up a little bit. So at the moment I only have these 2 decks available. You start off with the Hunter's Strength as well as Fire Wave, which is the main character here, the main focus, Chandra Nalaar. This is her deck, and if we hop into the deck manager here, you can see sort of streamline things a little bit. You've got all of your unlocked cards right at the top, and I actually started off with all 30 cards available unlocked. I'm not sure if that's how it is by default or if it's just my copy of the game, because I did get a press copy, but I did start off with all of the cards available unlocked. So I sort of tailor the deck to how I like. But you know, you can pick and choose if you want to add cards or remove cards. You just click on them and there you go. Pretty simple stuff. And then you can zoom in and filter through and all sorts of stuff. Basic information at the bottom with the casting cost. The one fantastic thing that they've added here is the ability to filter manually the number of lands that you want. Now, in prior installments of this game, it was really the case where you can have way too many lands because it was automatically decided for you, but you can tailor it to how you want by adding or removing lands to those decks. I think 22 is a good number for my particular deck. I might even go down to 20, to be honest, in a 60 card deck that's a mono color. That can work pretty well. I think because I've got 5 casting cost and 2 6 casting cost is why I've decided to settle at 22 here. But yeah, there's the deck manager. So why don't we hop in and just take a look at some actual gameplay here in the game. So we're gonna go into Innistrad, and I'd just like to show you and if you're wondering what that is, this is all just storytelling stuff here from Chandra, but not super important. So let's go ahead and just hop into a game. We're going to do the Moorland Zombies encounter, and I will be playing as Chandra's deck, the mono red deck here in this video, because that's really the only deck that I've unlocked and focused on. So pretty normal stuff. You start off again here. You can choose if you want to draw a new hand or keep your hand. You can draw a new hand 1 time for 7 cards and a second time for 6 cards, and then progressively goes lower and lower. This opening hand looks okay, so we'll just go ahead and keep it. Now, as you'll notice, the interface looks a little different. They've streamlined things and simplified it as well. It's a very basic sort of blue backdrop here for the battlefield, and all of this interface has been adjusted a little bit. New icons and positioning for the number of cards in the deck, number of cards in the hand, and now even a location for the number of cards in your opponent's graveyard and yours as well. And actually, let me think here. I could do 1 damage. No, that's not going to be enough. This thing comes into play tapped, so that's fine. And I'm thinking if I want to attack, I guess I just will go ahead and do that. So yeah, they've completely reworked the user interface as well as the battlefield. Also, we have new animations for the attacking and everything like that. When attack phase goes up, this little central area lights up. So, complete overhaul to this system. Again, I think it's neat. It looks a little basic, but I understand that's what they were going for. They were trying to streamline this and make it more simplistic. So, I'm okay with that. And I do like the new. The new displaying for the cards in hand, graveyard, and library, as well as for each of the phases, the main phase, combat phase, and all that stuff. Okay, so turn 3, we could drop down a Chandra's Phoenix, and he's got the 2/2 in play. I could actually do some damage to them, but that's fine. We're going to throw down the Chandra's Phoenix for now. This is a 2/2 Flying Haste. Now, obviously, with this latest installment of Duels, we are getting a bunch of new cards as well, which is always exciting. I'm looking forward to playing through the various decks and just taking a look at all the new cards that we've got access to. Most of the time, though, it's going to be cards that pre-existed in Magic, the physical card game, and a lot of times I do know at least vaguely of what they are, but hopefully we get some new stuff that I haven't seen before. I think that'll be exciting. I guess one example would actually be this ghoul here. This Diregraph ghoul is a ghoul that I've never seen before, so I don't even know if we're gonna win this game. I am so happy that this is in this deck. Final Fortune, such an amazing card. For 2 red, you get an extra turn, but you have to win during that extra turn, or else you lose. If you don't win, you lose. Novel concept. So I could do a Flames of Firebrand. I could also disintegrate one of his 2 creatures, or I could go with a Pilgrim's Eye, which is going to get me an extra land plus a blocking creature for next turn. So I'm actually going to do that. It's a 3 colorless for a 1/1 flying. When it enters the battlefield, I can just search my library for a basic land card, reveal it, and then put it into my hand. Okay, so we've got an extra land for next turn, which will be good. And then this turn we will attack for the 3. And I think this might be a pretty quick game, so I will actually play it out. I initially wasn't sure if I was going to, but we'll play this out, and then once I'm done this game, we'll hop into the sealed deck campaign, just so I can show you what that is all about. Now, besides this checkout video, to show off some of the various features, we will, of course, be now converting Friday Night Magic from Duels 2013 to Duels 2014. And, potentially next week, we might actually make this game my game of the week. I'm not entirely positive, but the potential is there. And I'm actually going to skip blocking since he only attacked with 1 creature. And he's got nothing else going on right now. I'm playing on the hardest difficulty. Like prior duels, there are 3 difficulties. And right now we are playing on the most difficult one. Let me think, actually. So I could do 3 damage this turn, and then if I Final Fortune for 2, and then I could Flames of Firebrand for 3. So we could do 3 plus 6 plus another 3 next turn. That's 12. Yep, we could kill him. Okay, so we're going to do this. Here's the plan. I felt like this was going to be a short game. So the plan is going to be as followed. First and foremost, we will attack. Let's see if he decides to block my ground creature. Hopefully he doesn't, because I can win next turn. I think I'll win next turn regardless, but... Okay, so that goes through. Then we Final Fortune, which will give us an extra turn. And we have to win next turn or else we lose. And before my turn is over, I am also going to Flames of Firebrand him directly. We're going to do the 3 damage to him directly. There we go. And that will bring him down to 6. And then next turn, unless he's got something funny coming up, next turn we should be able to win. 2 damage to our creature player. Yeah, okay. Alright, so we should be able to win here. For sure. Unless he gains life somehow in this process. So we will attack him. Now for the 4, he blocks one of them. I will have the damage go through to the player, which will bring him down to 2, and then we can just Pillar of Flame him for 2 for the win. So that was a fairly easy game, surprisingly enough. Something that I really liked about this is that now when you win, you're able to, at least it was the case. Last time I looked, there was an option to go directly into the deck manager. Maybe it's only after you win a game in which you unlock a new card. Maybe that's the case. But you can view the battlefield to see what was going on during that final play of the game. And yeah, there was an option to... I was really excited about it because there was an option to go to deck manager from here, but I apparently don't see it right now. So it might be only when you win a game that you unlock a new card, but there was the option prior, when I went through this prior, there was the option to switch to deck manager, but I'm guessing it's for that very reason. So that's the campaign. Again, you just play through these different challenges, different opponents. You'll either unlock a new card or a new card and a brand new deck once you come up against an opponent who has a deck that was within the deck list. And in fact, speaking of the deck list, let's go ahead and hop on the deck manager and just quickly go through that. So we've got, I think there's 10 of them total. Fire Wave is the first one. Masks of the Dimir. And there's Hunter Strength, which is the second one that you start off with unlocked. We've got Avakin's Glory. Mind Maze, that's going to be probably blue control. Enter the Dracomancer, that looks pretty neat. Dead Walkers, Chant of the Moldaya. Sliver Hive, slivers are really fun to play with. I'm looking forward to unlocking that deck. And then the Guardians of Light, which that might very well be another life gain deck. So those are the 10 pre-constructed decks. And again, we took a look at that deck manager already. So why don't we go ahead and hop into what everyone is probably looking forward to the most, and that is the sealed play. So I'd like to explain to you how this works. So you start off with 2 slots unlocked for the sealed play campaign. And when you start a new sealed play deck, I'll just show you how it works because I've got my second slot available. You can purchase additional slots. I believe the asking price is supposed to be $199, which will give you additional booster packs and a new pool with which to pull from. So this is how it works. You start a sealed campaign play, and when I started this first slot here, this is what happened. So you automatically open up, and you're gonna have 6 booster packs that you open up, and the cards that are in there, which are random, they're pulled from a pool of, I believe, 200 cards, and you start off with these 6 booster packs, which are 14 cards each. There's 1 rare, 1 rare, and I think 3 uncommons, and then the rest are commons. I think that's the divide. It's either 1 rare, 3 uncommons, or 1 rare, 2 uncommons. Actually, it's been a while since I've actually opened a real booster pack. I guess we'll find out as we open our first one here. So we click on it, and then you've got a random thing of cards here. So we've got our 1 rare for this particular booster pack, and then we've got 1, 2, it is 3 uncommons, isn't it? Yes, 3 uncommons. So 1 rare, 3 uncommons, and the rest are commons. And that is my first set of cards. So there we go. We have that, so we can go ahead and unwrap our next booster now. And you can go through these one by one, just like you would normally. And oh wow, I got another one of these Void Stalkers. I guess I'll have to make a somewhat of a blue deck here, given that I have 2 of those cards. And they're pretty decent. They're not bad. And nice for a blue deck that has like creature removal or control. And yeah, you can just go through each one of these boosters, and then once you have unlocked all of these boosters, that is that pool of cards. Now you can then unlock future. You can unlock future booster packs by playing through the sealed campaign, which I think lets you unlock 2 or 3 booster packs. Wow, I'm gonna have to make a blue deck with this one. I got another awesome blue card. Mind Spring, that's pretty cool. Okay, go through the last 2 of these. There is a unwrap all option, but I just wanted to go through these one at a time just to show you. Maybe a blue-green deck? That would be pretty fun to construct. Okay, so there we go. So that is the final booster pack for this particular set. Now, before we make a deck, these are all the cards that we have. We've got 84 total cards in the pool. And you can see the division. You can filter them by the color types as you make your deck. And then you also get to pick the lands that you want and the number of lands that you want for the deck. There's an auto adjust as well if you want the game to do it for you. Many times with these booster drafts, they're 40 card decks. And so a lot of times when you do this, especially since the pool of cards is so small that you have to choose from, same thing as for your opponents, that typically you see 2 color decks, 1 color decks, maybe if you get really lucky, and very rarely you'll see like a 3 color deck. It's just hard because with the mana that you have access to, it's hard to actually make that work and get stuff in play. But I don't want to build a deck right now or anything. What I'd like to do is just quit without saving. But you're going to notice now we have got the two options. So here is my deck that I did before as I've played through the game. So I can go into the edit the sealed deck, and you're going to notice I've got more than the cards available, because there's the 71 cards in my pool plus the 41 in my deck. That is because I've played through the campaign unlocking cards, and I've made myself this white and black deck. And when you look at these decks, they're not going to be the greatest. They're not going to be the greatest, and they're not going to have the greatest cards. But that is because it's a sealed format. And again, you've got access to such a small pool. You just have to work with what you got. But that's what makes sealed play really fun, especially since you can play these sealed decks in multiplayer against other people. Now, prior to making this video, I tried to get a game going, but no one was doing it. I'm guessing anyone who has Duels right now is probably just playing through the campaign. But once a couple of days go by, I'm sure more people will get into the sealed format, making sealed decks, and then as a result, we should see hopefully lots of people in the sealed play, because I'm going to tell you right now, I will much prefer to do sealed play than those static decks for Friday Night Magic, if that's an option. So we can go ahead and then take my deck and hop into the campaign. So here is the sealed deck campaign. It is 2 booster packs that you can unlock. I've already unlocked the first one, and then I thought maybe there were, okay, there must be 3, because I've unlocked 1 already, so it must have been 1 here, and then 2, and then 3. So we've got the chance to play through and unlock. So why don't I take my sealed deck, and why don't we try to unlock the next booster pack? So I'm going to be playing against a mono black deck. This is Liliana's sealed deck, and you'll get to see my white and black sealed deck in action. Now again, if I feature this game, if I feature Duels for next week's Game of the Week, then we'll go more in depth, and I'll show you like deck construction and the sealed format and all of that. But I just sort of wanted to touch on all the features, and we're going to draw a new hand because this isn't that great. This looks a bit better here, so let's go ahead and keep it. And we're going to start off with a nice Tormented Soul. Something else that typically tends to be the case, again, you're pulling from a limited pool of cards, so a lot of times creature heavy is what you'll see a lot of sealed decks, because sort of by necessity that ends up being the case. And they're filled with a majority of common cards, because again, you've got 6 booster packs, so that means you only have 6 potential rares to pull from, and especially if they end up being different colors, you can't just, you know what I mean? You can't just do all 6 rares in your deck, because even if there's three color differences, it's going to be hard to pull off a 3-color deck using a 40-card deck, which is the standard here for the booster drafts. So I played my 1/1 Tormented Soul. It's a creature that can't block, but also can't be blocked. Beyond that, I've got myself a nice Fiend Hunter here, 1/3. When it enters the battlefield, exile target creature. When it leaves the battlefield, that creature goes back into play. And then I'm going to pass the turn to my opponent before I show you. Brittle Effigy, 1 land for an artifact I can tap for, tap it, exile it, and target creature. So that's nice creature removal. Given the format, it's nice creature removal. And then I've got Stave Off, which I can give a creature protection from the color of my choice until end of turn. Liliana will play Sign in Blood, losing 2 life to draw 2 cards, bringing him down to 17. Or her, I suppose, if we want to be politically correct. And I drew into an amazing draw, my Hypnotic Spectre. The reason I wanted black in my deck, to be honest with you, this card is amazing. 2/2 flying. When it deals damage to an opponent, that opponent randomly discards a card. So they don't get to choose. They basically, if you're playing for real, it works like the player will shuffle their hand, reveal their hand, and then you pick one of those cards. But obviously, since this is the digital game, a random card is just pulled out of their hand. Alright, he's going to play a 2/3 flying Death Touch lifelink. Unfortunately, that means that I will not be able to do damage to him. Ooh, I will be able to, because I'm going to play, I'm going to play my creature removal. Fiend Hunter comes into play. I will exile his creature. So unless he kills this, his creature will stay exiled. And then I'll be able to swing for 3, and not only am I swinging for 3, but I am also forcing him to discard a card at random. So there is the 3 damage. Let's see what card randomly gets discarded. He has got 6 in his hand, now down to 5, and that is going to be the 4/5 for 5 that comes into play tapped. And again, you look at that card, you're like, that's not really good. Why is he playing with it? Because it's a seal draft. You've only got 84 cards to start off with. And they're all random, so sometimes you play with cards that maybe typically wouldn't be played in a normal deck. But again, that's what makes it fun. Oh no, destroy target tapped creature. Ugh, he's getting rid of my Hypnotic Spectre, and I could do nothing about that. Well, that's a real bummer. All right. And, well, at this point, I'll just attack for 2 because that's really all that can happen right now. So we swing for 2. We've still got the ability to exile a creature with my Brittle Effigy, and I also have Stave Off to still give a creature protection. And I drew into a Public Execution, which is 6 lands to destroy a creature an opponent controls, and then all other creatures that player controls gets -2/-0 until end of turn. Really useful card. We're going to see a Staff of the Death Magus come into play. Whenever a black spell or swamp enters the battlefield under his control, he gains 1 life. So he plays the swamp after playing that card, which is the smart move, and he gains a life as a result. And he plays a Ravenous Rats, which forces me to discard a card. I think we'll probably get rid of the Stave Off. I'd like to keep my Public Execution, so. And before the end of his turn, nah, don't. That'd kind of be a waste if I used my Brittle Effigy on that, so I'm not going to bother. We will, however, play our Terramorphic Expanse. We will also sack it right away to get another card. Get a land in play tap. And then we will attack for 2. It's actually a tough call, I don't know. I do really like this format because of the fact that it's limited and it requires players to be creative. But I also worry that because you play with cards that aren't the greatest by necessity, it might not be as interesting to watch. So I'll have to decide what we do for Friday Night Magic. Maybe I could do a couple games of Sealed and a couple games of Constructed. Maybe that'll be the best way to do it. In fact, I'm guessing it probably will be. All right, he's going to play a 1/3 Death Touch, and that is going to be something that I will get rid of. Although I guess I could just use the Public Execution, so. Because I've got options. I also have put target attacking creature on the bottom of its owner's library. Its controller gains life equal to its toughness. That is Condemn. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and do the Public Execution on him. Because he's got Death Touch, I didn't want him blocking my creature. He would have blocked this and get rid of it. Or, of course, I could have just not attacked with it, but I need to try to keep this damage going here. Especially since he is consistently gaining life with the staff here. A swamp. Anytime he plays a swamp and a black spell, so. He's gaining a lot of life on a regular basis. Which is unfortunate for me, but great for him. In fact, he's even pretty much nullifying the damage that I do. Alright, 4/4, whenever a creature is dealt damage by a single vampire this turn, put a 1/1 counter on it. Okay, well that needs to die, obviously, so the Brittle Effigy will be getting rid of that. But again, he keeps offsetting my damage with everything he's doing here. Ooh, I can get rid of that. Interesting. We'll wait, though, because first and foremost, I do need to get rid of this, so we'll activate it. Exile the card, plus his vampire. A new spot for exiled cards with an X through them, which is right next to the graveyard now. Really like that, instead of the cards just disappearing into thin air, which is what happened in prior years' installments. And I mean, it's looking pretty good for me, but still. This is annoying, him gaining so much life and me having to whittle my way through it. And again, with a life, he will be playing a 2/2. Enters the battlefield, target player loses 2 life, he gains 2 life. Oh my gosh, so annoying. Ugh, luckily though, I drew a Public Execution. And I do want to play it now. To get rid of his flyer, to try to do some damage. Desperately need to get rid of that too, though. We'll see. Imagine if I don't end up winning this because I let this sit and play for too long. All right, he's going to give a +2/+2 in lifelink. He is going to win this game, I think. I think he is going to win this game now. Unless I draw into something. I guess I could just hold off to condemn. Yeah, I can. I'll be able to condemn next turn. Place a land, gains a life. Okay, so maybe he's not guaranteed to win this game, but I'm still really annoyed. I'm gonna get rid of that thing. Holding on to my Ravenous Rats until he gets a card in hand that he hopefully holds on to. And we attack for 2, bringing him down to 15. And then we will condemn his attacking creature. There it is. So he will gain life as a result, but at least the creature is gone now. And he will not be consistently gaining life. And he drew a card. Let's see if he plays it. Second main phase. Yes, he does. Plays his land. I play my land. I will hold on to my rats. I guess, though, chances are that anything he draws, he'll be playing right away, right? Still, though, it's worth it. Just in case he doesn't. If he does hold on to something, it's worth having the rats to force him to discard. Perfect. Well, actually, this card in play is terrible for me, but he is getting this comes into play and triggers, and he gets a card from his graveyard into his hand. Now I can force him to discard that card. However, him having a 6/6 in play is not perfect for me, despite what I was just screaming. There's the Ravenous Rats. At least we get to make him discard a card. And then we will attack for the 1. And I'll be taking 6 next turn, so I'm only going to have a few turns left. This doesn't help me too much right now. So I only have 3 turns to win. So I desperately need creature removal right now. He's going to play a Bloodhunter. Ugh, man. Yep, think I'm going to lose this game. In fact, next turn he can kill me unless I draw creature removal. That is not the creature removal that I needed, so that is the game. I can't believe this. Oh well, sealed. It'll happen. Alright, so I'm just going to pass the turn so that we can lose the game and conclude this video. But there's an example of sealed deck play. Alright. That's too bad. Alright, so we've got the option to play again right away. But if I had won that game, I would have unlocked a booster pack, which would have given me 14 more cards to use within my sealed deck list here. So there you go. And I guess that will do it. I'm not purchasing a slot right now, but again, you can purchase an additional slot for $1.99. I'm not sure if there's a cap on that at all. We talked about the challenges. Why don't we take a look at one challenge before we wrap things up? Let's go to one of the more advanced challenges. Let's take a look. Sliver Strike Team. Okay. Let's give this a look here. Your opponent is still strong behind a wall of creatures with first strike. Find a way to defeat your opponent with your army of slivers. So let's take a look. So this is the challenge, just like the challenges in the last installment of Duels. You start with a hand in a situation. You got to try to find your way to win. All right, so let's see what he has. He has got 3 of these 2/3 flying first strike creatures. He is at 14 health. I have got slivers get +0/+1. Slivers get +2/+0. Slivers have haste. Okay, so the slivers that I would play have haste. Let's see what we've got in my hand. He can block every one of these, preventing the damage from going through. So I gotta find a way to get damage through. Slivers you control have first strike. Okay. Sliver creatures you control get +1/+1. +0/+1. Silver creatures you control have double strike. That is really good. Silver creatures you control get +2/+0. Silver creatures you control get +3/+3. But that would use all of my mana, and that would not be enough. I think the double strike is the obvious choice here. So let's play that. And then the +1/+1. Right? Yeah, double strike plus an extra 1/1. Wow, that was pretty easy. Okay. All right, so we'll attack. Double strike means they hit twice. They do first strike damage, then additional damage. So all I need is a couple of these to go through. That damage is dealt, that damage is dealt. Double, double, double. That's the win. Okay, so that was a challenge. Turned out to not be too hard. I also unlocked a new portrait, which is nice. Anyways, hopefully those challenges get a little bit more difficult. That was ridiculously easy. And again, there's also custom games and with which you can just play games with your deck to try to unlock additional cards. But I think that's pretty much everything that I need to show you guys here in Magic Duels 2014. So stay tuned on Friday, as we'll be doing Friday Night Magic, and let me know what you guys think as to whether or not I should do pre-constructed decks or sealed deck gameplay, or mix it up. And then also stay tuned next week, because there is a chance that I will be making this my featured game of the week, in which we'll go more in depth as to each of the various facets of the game. Alright, thanks so much for watching, guys. Once again, this has been Force checking out Magic the Gathering Duels of the Planeswalkers 2014. I love Magic the Gathering, and this has made improvements, so gets my thumbs up. Thanks for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe, keep watching, and keep owning.